All that out of the way, let's transition to the interior. Alright, we are in the interior of the van with all the lights on. We got an induction stove, so that's awesome. Everything's electronic. Down here, to open these cabinets, you put your thumb down and pull. You have your freshwater tank. I wish that was underneath where the spare tire would be normally. Another design flaw I fixed with this system is you can buy these on Amazon, but it's basically like a long straw that goes straight into your soap bottle. And that way the plastic bottle it comes with doesn't just jiggle off when you're driving off-road. So that's what happens there. This I would finish with metal. I'd put a metal sheet over it, and that way you don't just scratch that pretty wood. Here you got the Victron controller where you can see the power level, amp hours and voltage, all right there. If the water pumps start making a lot of noise or won't turn off, you can turn them off right here. So that's very important. And then there's your Victron charger, so you can go on, off, charger only, and then play with your current limit there. I'm going to put it back at 50 though. You got this little table, storage area under here, nice and clean. Storage area under here with access to all these pretty breakers. All nicely labeled. Hot water tank, and then a on-off for the house battery. Alright. And this panel goes down here. So we can see how this is just wired in like that. A little cold, definitely cold out, honestly. This is the unplug when warm cable for the battery heater, and then I got a power strip here for this. So I would actually do GFCI outlets, but with USB charging built in, and then have more of these around. So that's something I would change. That I would make 4-pronged, so not just the 2. Right now I got all the cabinets empty and open because they're all beautiful and clean. That strut's a little sagging, so that probably needs replaced, to be honest. So we'll close all these. Cabinet should be really well done, just beautiful. One thing to note about the heater, and I mentioned this while I was looking at the batteries, is I think that heater takes a lot of power when the glow plug is starting the ignition cycle. And when that happens, if those batteries are cold, the heater basically won't work. So the batteries have to be warm for the heater to work. Same thing with the induction stove. It'll work if you leave it at, if you turn it on, you can, oh, there's nothing on it, so it won't induct. But there's basically like, let's flip this around. There's 4 levels of heat. And if you run it over 2 or 3, it'll just turn off, it'll trip the breaker. So you can basically only run it at 1 or 2 if the batteries are cold. Even if they're charged, even if they're like 70%, if they're cold in 70%, they're just not going to work. Cold to 80%, not going to get over level 2 heat, and the heater won't turn on. But if the batteries are warm, you use that seed mat heater, you can turn the heater will turn on just fine, and the stove will run at its highest settings. So that's why the heater should be built in. And then this heater can't be used to heat the batteries because this is its only exit pipe. And the batteries are all protected back there, so there's no vent path for that air to get back there. Also, this is the remote for the air unit up there, which works really well. It's got the rim tip on there. That's kind of cool. 48 degrees. Other things, this fan's a couple years old. You can see some cracks in here. Another thing I would do in terms of like if I was designing this, I would have a metal sheet that looked nice, about the same size as the stove top right here. Because what you do if you're traveling in road weary is you take your hot pot and you put it there, and then it burns a hole there. Then you have to sand all that out and then refinish this with oil. So that's what I would do. Other changes I would make would be, I would actually delete this seat, move this whole thing over so it would be flush with the bed, and then that way this front chair could flip around and you could access that space. This front passenger chair does flip around. Heaters under there. And then for the table, I would just have it like on a post. I'd have like a post table. So you'd have the bench seat there, and then you'd have the two captain chairs, and you just have more space. So that's what I would do for seating. This is this top nook area, which is very deep. Here's our tape measure here. So that goes back just about 2 feet and is 9 inches high. What I would do is I would put an LED light strip here. Sorry, LED light strip there and there. So a couple LED light strips so you could see there. And there's really not much build in this cabin area, but I would put LED light strip here and here as well, multicolor, so that you could, you know, when it's night, you can like make it light in here and really flip these captain chairs around and just make it feel like the interior of the van. I'm not going to go much into this other than saying that these leather seats are super comfortable and that these floor mats are awesome. And they're clean now, and I'm going to get that leaf out of here. So there's that. This also has the bug net put in, which is cool, I guess, in the summer. I actually haven't tested it out myself. What else to say? These blow-up pocket windows, I guess, those are pretty cool, and they're sound dampened really well. So I like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the interior. Oh, the fridge. The fridge is an isotherm. It's turned off right now. This is the only latch it has. So what I would do if this was my van is I would put like a little eye bolt there and an eye bolt there, and then like a rubber bungee, because you take a sharp turn, you got a bunch of drinks in there, those are liable to come out on you. It smells a little musty, so I'm gonna leave that open, let that vent a little bit. And that's the interior of the van.